The Twinflame journey isn't what you think it is. Let's talk about it. Hey guys, it's Tarot and Beyond. Welcome back to another pick a card reading, and I gotta tell you, I had so much resistance sitting down today to film this reading. Spirit gave me the indication that we were going to be doing a twin flame reading, and I have been putting it off for a while, but as Spirit will do, synchronicities keep coming and coming and coming until I finally get the message and pluck up the courage to sit down and actually do this reading with you guys today. So the reason why I'm feeling resistance to this is because, for those of you who don't know, I started out doing YouTube readings for twin flames on my old channel, To Kitty and Beyond. That started me out on YouTube. That was in 2017, and I haven't talked about twin flames since, and there's a good reason for that. So if you're interested in that story, stick around after the intro, but for now, let's get some information on what you're needing to hear on your twin flame journey, and we're going to do that with the romance oracles. So I'm going to select 3 cards as usual to indicate the 3 different readings. I'll give you a top-down view as well, but for group number 1, we have Honeymoon. Okay, so that's the card for group number 1. Timestamps are below. So for group 2, I actually feel this card. Romantic Feelings. Group 2, your card is Romantic Feelings. All right, and then for group 3, we have Retreat. Retreat. Okay, so there's the 3 groups, there's the 3 cards. Choose the one or multiple ones that feel like they're calling to you and use the timestamps in the description box or the chapter notes below to jump ahead to your chosen reading or readings, and we will see you there. Now, for those of you who are interested in why I stopped doing twin flame readings, even if you didn't follow me back then, I started out doing those twin flame readings. It's actually what got me really interested in tarot, and how I learned tarot was through watching other people do twin flame readings. And so I started doing them myself because I felt like I was being sort of thrust into this twin flame environment. I thought that I knew at that time who my twin flame was. Everything that I went through after that was leading me in the direction that I am currently going now. But what I had to discover was that the way that Spirit was leading me along this path wasn't necessarily how I expected it to be. And yes, they were dangling this carrot of the twin flame, but really it was leading me down the path of having to reconcile and understand karmic patterns from the past around relationships. So I had to face off with a lot of karmic negative soulmate contracts, soul ties, trauma, wounding, attachment style things. And it really kind of faced me with my own darkness, with my own pain, and with these really dysfunctional relationship dynamics. So the reason that I felt called to sit down and actually make this reading today, and I think why Spirit is really kind of prompting me to speak my truth here today, is because my own experience is sort of reflective of what's going on in the collective. I think that there's a lot of people who are searching for answers and connection and something to fill the void through the idea of twin flames. And yes, I do believe they exist. Let me preface this statement with that. But they are a lot rarer than we have been led to believe in the spiritual community. And the process to getting there is not this really dysfunctional, black and white sort of trauma bonding karmic thing that we're seeing in a lot of the situations that are identified or self-identified as twin flame. Now, that doesn't mean that you're not one, or that you don't have one. It just means that there's probably some other things that you need to work through first. And when I'm seeing a lot of the twin flame and relationship content online, especially in the pick a card community, it's heavily directed and focused towards people who are looking for answers or understanding how the other person is feeling. So other person's feelings readings, and how do they feel about me, and why did they ghost me, and what's going on in their mind. Those are all of the readings that are the most popular, and I also think they can be really unhelpful and even downright toxic in certain circumstances. The reason being is because we are giving not false hope, but it's first of all inappropriate to dig into someone else's mind and try to uncover what their thoughts are about you. Second of all, it's unhelpful because it's disconnecting you from yourself. Why do you even care what that other person thinks of you? Sure, if they really cared enough about you and they loved you deeply enough, I think they would say that to you, and you wouldn't have to go looking for a tarot reading to confirm that. And this is what kind of gets me upset and why I actually stopped doing twin flame readings, because I realized that I was actually contributing to that. I was part of the problem. And so I had to step back from that, address my own wounds, because that was what led me down that path in the first place. So being able to look at ourselves more clearly, this is what the twin flame journey is all about. It's about this hierogamic union between masculine and feminine, not in the external, but within the self. And only then can there be an external reflection of that. But what I'm seeing is a lot of separation internally, and these people reaching out for an answer or for a crutch or for some kind of like a candy or an addiction type behavior, with fiending for what this other person is thinking, feeling, or wanting, and when will we come together. And that's the opposite of what the twin flame journey is trying to teach us. It's really about being able to feel love and union within the self, which is a hard thing to do. You have to sit with yourself. You have to experience the uncomfortableness of diving below the surface of why I have this compulsion, or why I have this need, or why I have this insecure attachment style. There's a lot of crap underneath the surface. And I think that's the beauty of tarot and love in general, is that it kind of faces us with that, either through what we don't want or sometimes through what we do. So the reason I felt called to sit down and do this reading today is to get into the nitty-gritty of these topics and to be able to give you guys some more helpful guidance, hopefully, on what this twin flame journey is actually about and how you can really thrive within yourself through uniting the masculine and feminine within, and then potentially having that reflected back to you through a partner. Okay, so thank you for watching this part of the video. If you did, I know not everybody will. Some people just want to jump to the readings, and it's kind of a symptom of the problem in itself, but it's okay, because we're going to try and do the best that we can today, we being myself and spirit, to relay messages that don't squander or squash the hopes, but also don't contribute to delusion. Okay, so I'm trying to find that middle ground. So hopefully you guys are with me on that, and let's jump into your readings. All right, hi group 1, you guys chose honeymoon, and your card says enjoy the bliss of holiday time together. I'm getting energy of a trip. Obviously, honeymoon is kind of what that's about, but I'm feeling like this may actually not have much to do with your twin flame. This is more of like a personal thing that I'm getting, but I think it has to do with this twin flame union. Now, I'm feeling called to start with the Coffee Cup Oracle, so let's take a look at some of the cards here for you. Wow, you have husband, marriage, and groom. And since you have the honeymoon card, I really feel like these two things are connected, but not in the way that you would expect, right? Usually it's like you marry someone, you marry this groom, you're with this person, and then you go on a honeymoon. But I'm actually feeling it's kind of the other way around. It's like you're going on a trip of some kind, you're going on a honeymoon, and you may be meeting that person there, or if you're already connected to someone, it's like it catalyzes something between you. So there's this energy of like you finding yourself. That's really what I'm getting. And that's really what the twin flame journey is all about in the first place. It's about finding yourself, uniting the masculine and feminine within you, and unlocking this untold bliss of union. And it's not about union with the other person. It's about union with yourself. Now I'm feeling called to the archetype cards. Oh, right away we have 2 coming out. Actually 3, because I feel the one on the bottom too. Bottom of the deck. Bottom of the deck is priest, and it did come out reversed, so that's the shadow side quality. Let's see. Violates the trust of your spiritual community, seduced by your own spiritual role. And if you guys didn't watch the after intro kind of breakdown of why I stopped doing twin flame readings in the first place, and why I think spirit called me to do this reading today, it was really because it was like being seduced by this role of the twin flame journey into these very karmic, toxic relationships. But I do think that those experiences can lead us back to ourselves by facing these shadows, by facing these darknesses about ourselves and our relationship with self. mirrored back to us through our relationships with other people. I think that that's really the highest expression of this spiritual role. The higher or light aspect of the priest is facilitates spiritual commitments, serves as a channel of spiritual energy. So we're seeing a lot to do with commitment. The groom card is about commitment. The honeymoon is kind of like a celebration after the commitment has been made. So I feel like this is really kind of calling you into the lighter aspects here, group number 1, of how you can fulfill the spiritual role, but not let it lead you down a path that kind of just keeps cycling back on itself. You're meant to be progressing and evolving in this direction of channeling the spiritual energy and committing to the path, whatever that kind of looks like. That's what I'm really seeing here, is like you committing to the path. Now you also have the poet and the lover, both in the upright. So these are the light qualities or light attributes. And you have expresses soul insights in symbolic language with the poet. This is like very deeply romantic energy that I'm picking up on. And I was getting that from the gondola in what appears to be like Venice, Italy, right? And this is like the quintessential romantic area that everyone wants to go. Everyone wants to go to Italy, or they want to go to Paris, France, to have these very romantic, idealized types of vacations or honeymoons. And I think it's kind of the same thing in the spiritual community. It's like idealization and putting this idea of the twin flame above a soulmate or above anything else. It's putting things on a pedestal, putting another person on a pedestal. But I see that really there's like a soul insight here that is going to be expressed to you on this path from spirit through symbolic language. So the more that you can get to know and understand the language of the divine, the easier this path is going to get. Well, it's not necessarily that it gets easier. It just, you're able to follow the symbols a little bit more effectively. Okay, you're able to discern. And that's why I do pick a card readings in the first place, is to help you to enhance your intuition, learn the language of spirit through symbolism. That's why I explain the cards in the way that I do. So I hope that this is helping. But let's go deeper. You also have the lover card. Okay, and it says great passion and devotion, unbridled appreciation of someone or something. Now, I do feel called to read the shadow. It came up in the upright, but there's always a reason for everything. So it says obsessive passion that harms others, self-destructive devotion. That's kind of what I'm seeing here. It's this duality between self-destructive devotion or overcommitment to an idea of something, seduced by your own spiritual role, thinking that you have to overcome these really toxic behavioral connections, possibly with an individual, because you have this idea that they're your twin flame, which may not actually be the case. That may be a karmic partner. Your true twin flame will not be dysfunctional in the sense that it makes you doubt yourself. A true twin flame will not gaslight you. A true twin flame will actually expose the really most beautiful parts of yourself to you. And yes, there may be some shadow work in accepting those parts, ironically, right? Sometimes we push away the best parts of ourselves, especially if there's unworthiness wounds, which we tend to see running rampant in the spiritual community when we're talking about love and relationships. I think that there's a lot to do with self-abandonment there and seeking validation through other people or through romance. But that out of the way, because I have to say it, but that out of the way, let's take a look at this lover card. I want to get a clarifier. You have the third eye chakra, seeing the truth of this situation. Now, the thing I love about the third eye is that it does show you the non-dualistic truth. What does that mean? Well, it'll show you the light and the shadow. That's why I felt called to the archetypes deck, is because it talks about the light and the shadow. It talks about these two completely separate sort of spectrums of this one energy. And that's exactly what the third eye can help you to do as well. It can help you to see the truth beyond the duality of it. It can show you both sides of it, and both sides are equally true. One is not right and one is not wrong. They're both accurate. They're both true. And it becomes, how do you integrate that information into your consciousness? How do you expand your perspective and your perception of love and romance and connections to better reflect these dualistic truths, these shadow and light qualities within yourself, within the pursuit of this relationship, and also within the other person? Okay. Okay, we're going to go into the Egyptian star oracle. I always want to call it tarot, but it's oracle. Respect and admiration. And they took me back to the priest card. Spiritual commitments serves as a channel for spiritual energy. I think that there's going to be sort of like a rise into a position of responsibility in terms of the spiritual path that you're walking, group number 1. Now, again, there's so much nuance to this, okay? So I'm going to try and explain it the best I can, but essentially, you don't want to completely become dogmatic about this and deny or neglect your core needs in pursuit of this quote-unquote spiritual truth. But I do see that if you're able to balance these dualities, these shadow and lights, and integrate them within yourself, this is part of the twin flame journey in and of itself. It's not just about balancing the masculine and feminine and uniting those polarities within the self. It's also about uniting shadow and light, because those are kind of really just another way of saying masculine and feminine. It's the same thing. So I do feel that when you are able to do this in a holistic and unified way, I feel like you're going to be stepping into a leadership position in terms of how you are able to express this or embody this, either through the relationship or through your own actions or through what you're talking about, perhaps, because we do have the poet. Maybe you're writing about this, sharing about this, speaking about this, teaching about this. I just got as well about love and relationships and how this impacted you, and maybe even just telling the story of how you came to be connected to this other person through your own personal journey. And so I think that that's going to lead to a lot of respect and admiration, because you're in a position where people are looking at you, where they're perceiving you and what you're talking about or what you're sharing. Yeah, I just keep getting like a position of some kind of leadership. And then we have melancholy and sadness. I do want to get a clarifier on this. I think we're going to start going into the final rose tarot. Can I get a clarifier on melancholy and sadness, please, for group number 1? What is this about here? Wow, look at that. You have blindsided, which is the 9 of mirrors, and this person is very melancholy and very sad in the image. So this makes a lot of sense. So this is kind of how I just heard bounce back. How are you going to bounce back from disappointment, from feeling blindsided by something not working out and being redirected in a way that leads you closer into connection with yourself? Because that's really, like I said, that's what the twin flame journey is about. It's not about the other person, it's about you. And so the more that you can identify and understand that mirror, the more deeply you can delve into yourself and understand yourself better and your needs. It takes a lot of work, and there is grief that happens there. But I think that if that is part of the separation process of this relationship, it's because it's allowing you the space to be able to address this within yourself. You see how they're sitting kind of back to back there, facing away from each other. And yes, they are mirroring each other, but it's important to have that time and space to be able to kind of address what's being mirrored back to you and what you need to heal. And it's interesting that we have the eye really dominant in this card, and then we have the third eye. So it's like seeing the truth clearly, seeing beyond the illusion of this separation, and coming into that state of union within the self, because again, that's what it's about. That's what it's all about. On the bottom of the deck, you have the lovers, okay? So you have the lovers twice from 2 different decks. You've got the oracle, the lover, and then you have the tarot card, the lover. So I do feel like this person, if you are connected to them already, is someone who is very sacred to you. But you have to be careful not to self-destruct in your pursuit of this relationship that feels so passionate. It's important to feel the bliss, yes, but not to put that on a pedestal and deny the shadow sides and the pain and some of the grief or the shadow work that needs to be done and the healing therein. So I'm really feeling like if you can see above the problem here and expand your perspective on this, like I'm seeing that the third eye being about like this bird's eye view where you can see from above, that's going to give you better context for what this stage of the relationship, whether you're in separation, whether you haven't even come together yet, you haven't met this person, or whether you are with them and there's just some turbulence that's happening. I think that it's all an opportunity, whichever kind of timeline you're in there, or phase of this journey you're on, to be able to see things from this more bird's eye perspective and do some of this deep integration work within the self. Okay, I'm feeling called to the Soul Cat Tarot, so we're just going to find out what additional information. They want me to clarify the third eye even further. Okay, the Ten of Swords. Well, this is interesting because, you know, the card that you had over here is well, blindsided. This is kind of similar energy. One's the Nine of Swords, one's the Ten of Swords. So not only has it progressed, but it's also come to a conclusion. The 9 is the ending of the cycle, the 10 is the full completion and the opportunity for a new beginning that is full of potential. And so that's a good thing, especially as it relates to these traumas within the mind. I feel like the perception has been distorted, especially by pain of the past. And I think that's why there's an opportunity here, because they just brought me back to the honeymoon card in my mind. Why there's an opportunity here for you to kind of go on a quest to find yourself, and to discover who you are and what you need and what you want and what you don't want. I think you've had lots of examples of that with the blindsided card and the Ten of Swords. It's like those old painful experiences are ready to be put to rest. Rest in peace to the old you. Rest in peace to the old karmic patterns. Rest in peace to the shadow stuff that you've been dealing with, group number 1. That's what I feel like. So you've been dealing with a lot here. So I really just kind of want to see you doing well. I want to see you doing well. And I think the way to do that is for you to integrate and understand what these things have taught you about yourself, about your wants and needs, and what you should not allow in your life, either within yourself or from other people. You have the Ace of Wands. So like I was saying, it's the opportunity for a fresh new start. And that is what the Ace of Wands helps to give you. It is an opportunity for new passion. It is very romantic energy. The Ace of Wands, if we're looking at it in its, physical sense, it's a phallic symbol. So it can be about sexual connection and intimacy in that way. But I'm feeling like this has to do with you renewing your own spark, renewing your own passion, and not necessarily needing someone else to light that or ignite that for you. It's like you lighting your own fire and then pursuing that and creating a new sort of direction out of that. And you have the King of Wands. That's interesting, the Ace of Wands and the King of Wands. So it's like a new beginning that leads you to this person. I keep getting this message of going on a trip or a journey, a vacation of some kind. So there could be something that you're being called to do, to either meet this person, to reunite with them, or to, again, discover these parts of yourself. Now, the King of Wands is the masculine. So I feel like this is reuniting the masculine fire within you, right? It's reuniting the feminine water and the masculine fire, merging those together in harmony. Very sort of temperance energy, like the Temperance card in the tarot. Feels very much like that. You also have, you got 3 more cards. You have the Ten of Pentacles. Wow. The Tower. I think that's where the blindsided and the Ten of Swords energy comes in, and the melancholy and sadness. It's like you were, something that you thought was really stable got completely sort of crumpled, or the rug got pulled out from you and underneath you in some way. And we have the Chariot. I keep getting this message of going on a journey. So you may be called to do a little bit of a pilgrimage here, group number 1, to find yourself. It feels, and this has been coming up in several of the readings. So if you watch one of the other pick a cards and you came across me referencing this energy of Eat, Pray, Love, this is double confirmation for you, because that's what I'm getting here. It feels very much like Eat, Pray, Love. And if you've read that book or you've watched that movie, which I think most of us have, the archetypal story of what Liz goes through is being in a dysfunctional relationship where she thought this person was the one, and then realizing that she's dissatisfied, she's unhappy because she hasn't really found herself yet. And she's built this really stable, on the outside, good-looking life with this person, but she's not happy. And so she kind of has to dash it all to pieces of her own volition to pursue what is actually going to bring her satisfaction, contentment, and happiness in the long run. So she goes on a journey and she travels to literally Italy. Well, that's the reference we were having here in the honeymoon card. She travels to Italy, and then she goes to, where does she go next? I know she goes to Bali, and then I think she goes to somewhere else. India. Yeah, those are the 3 places she goes. those don't have to be where you're going, group number 1. But I feel like this is going to reignite this flame within you. It's going to give you a sense of direction. It's going to help you focus back on yourself again. And then as a result, when you're focusing on reuniting the parts within you, it's a very introspective part of the twin flame journey that does activate, catalyze, attract, magnetize the other person to you. Because if you focus on the other person, you repel them. If you focus on yourself, you attract them. And it's not trying to focus on yourself so that you attract them, because that's really just focusing on the other person, but it's like pretending to yourself that it's not. It's like, you can't trick the system. There's no loopholes here. You have to do it authentically. You really do have to find yourself here, group number 1. That's the main message I'm getting, but I do feel called to the Healing Rose Oracle, I think, or the Rose Oracle. I think it's just called Rose Oracle. Okay. The Rose Garden, innocence, forgiveness, and be gentle with yourself. I think that's a really good message here, group number 1. It's important that you're gentle with yourself, because I do see that you're a very spiritually devout individual. I do see that you are very sensitive emotionally. You're very receptive mentally. And I think you're highly intelligent. And from all of that, in those light qualities, there's also the shadow sides of those things. There's the shadow side of being too dogmatic about this spiritual journey and neglecting yourself in the sort of process of that. There's also the shadow side of being sensitive, where you can sometimes tend to get lost or start drowning in your emotions, or getting lost and distorted in your own mind, and really kind of like being in a hall of mirrors is what they just showed me in my mind. Yeah. It's like being in a fun house and being stuck in a hall of mirrors where everything's distorted. You don't know which direction to go. You're facing yourself at every turn, but you keep bumping into things because you're not really necessarily seeing the direction that all of those reflections of self are leading you. So we have to factor in those light and shadow aspects. That's the whole process that's happening here. So I think being able to be gentle with yourself through this is going to be important. Forgiving yourself is going to be important for any mistakes that you may have made. I keep seeing this message of forgiving yourself for overcommitting to people that didn't commit back to you in the same way. It's kind of like people who breadcrumbed you or led you on, that you put on a pedestal, and allowing them to stay in your life. It feels like past energy, but if this is happening right now, it's important for you to heal this as part of this twin flame journey. Very much so. Okay, actually, let me see. Healing is happening. You're not broken. Trust the process. It's safe to soften. Yeah, so coming into your divine feminine energy, whether you identify as the masculine or the feminine in this equation, either way, it's tapping into this feminine energy, because the masculine has to integrate his feminine and the feminine has to integrate her masculine. And also the other way around, the masculine has to integrate his masculine and the feminine has to integrate her feminine. We both have to do both. And so I'm seeing that healing is definitely happening here, group 1. That's good. I'm very happy to see that for you. You are healing. You're not broken. It is important that you trust the process, which does not necessarily mean holding out for people who don't reciprocate or who don't reflect back to you this highest expression of yourself. It really is about trusting your own personal healing process, which has absolutely nothing to do with anyone else other than the fact that they reflect you back to you. So I feel like they keep showing me this hall of mirrors in my mind clairvoyantly, and it's kind of like you're in this hall of mirrors, you're confused by some of the distorted, mirrors effect that you're getting back. It's like wonky funhouse mirrors, and some of them are clear and some of them are straight, and you're just like, what the heck's going on? I feel like you stopping and slowing down and taking a look at each one of these reflections and seeing the truth in that reflection and also seeing the distortion in that reflection. Like, oh, this wonky funhouse one, well, I can still see myself, but it's not me. That I know that I'm shorter than that or taller than that or not as wide as that. This is just a very literal example, but in that metaphor, it's you really identifying the parts of you that are accurate and the parts that are skewed. and learning to identify your blind spots as well. That's really important. So this is all very, very deep level healing that you are committed to on this path, group number 1. I see that very clearly. You are committed to this and it will pay off, but it's kind of like you need to put some things to rest from the past and move on from things that didn't work, things that are broken, that don't necessarily really need to come with you, because you're not broken. You're not broken. Even if the mirror smashes, doesn't mean that you stop existing as a whole person. It was just the reflection. Ooh, that's a big one. Wow, yeah, I just got big spiritual chills and energy running through my body there. So that was a big message for you, group 1. Now, I feel like this journey that you're going to go on is going to lead to the long-term stability and commitment that you're looking for. So finding yourself and building that internal stable foundation, seeing beyond these black and white dualities and really integrating those shadow and light aspects into yourself, that is what's going to result in this foundation of stability that you've been needing, desiring, and wanting all this time. And I think that this is really going to spur on your spiritual growth, because that's what this process is all about for Twin Flames. And it's going to help you to feel reinvigorated, passionate, and pursue that passion where it guides you, but with discernment. Yeah, that's really what I see here for you, group number 1. So I hope that this reading was helpful in some way, that it gave you some insight into your journey, how to move through it with grace, how to integrate these dualities. Ultimately, I want that to serve you in your union, right? And that is within the self, but then it does get reflected back. So it's for your highest good, whatever's happening here. Let some of that melancholy lie to rest, okay? So I'm sending you guys so much love. Thank you for being here. And if you guys are looking for a one-on-one session, reading, or any other services that I provide, you can check out my website, which is linked in the description box below. It's tarotandbeyond.com. Thanks again, guys, and we'll see you in the next reading. Bye! All right, hi, group number 2. You guys chose romantic feelings as your card for this reading, and it says your feelings are real and worth exploring. Okay, so right off the bat, we haven't even pulled any cards yet, and I'm already starting to get some messages coming through that you've kind of been hiding yourself away, group number 2, and this time is different, is what I'm hearing. This time is different, and there's going to be an opportunity for you to really allow your feelings and emotions to come through, to actually be felt, to be honored within you. And they're worth exploring. They're real and they're worth exploring. So let's get some information. I'm going to start with the Egyptian Star Tarot because that's where I'm feeling called. So let's find out some information here. You have being of service. Well, the highest expression of the Twin Flame Journey is to be of service. It is either to be of service in the sense that you are uniting these things within yourself, and then in union with your twin flame, you are creating the 0-point field where you're kind of neutralizing all karma and all attachments to the lower third dimensional realm, and you're able to kind of ascend energetically together as one because you're coming into this very, very whole form of the self. Now, the other side of that is also about being of service in a more practical, hands-on way, because that's kind of like the just inherent nature of the journey itself when union happens. But what I'm seeing is also about your own personal service and how this shows up for you. Like, what do you feel drawn to do for the collective? Or do you have a skill, a gift, a talent? I feel like that's also real and worth exploring. It's like if you have a passion for something, if you have a skill or an interest or a curiosity, this is part of that service. So this is part of that, the entire whole twin flame journey. It's like the more that you can pursue your authenticity and express that, the better chances you will have of uniting with this other and doing that much larger level. Well, it's not necessarily larger. It's just different form of spiritual service. I also see development and growth for you. Development and growth, well, this is also what it's about. Yeah, I did just hear developing your skills, growing your skills, your talents, your abilities. This definitely has to do with your passions, passion projects, gifts, skills, talents, areas that you feel called inundation. You also have inundation. But I feel like you might feel overwhelmed. It's like you're overwhelmed with your feelings, and maybe that's why you're kind of pushing them away, or inundated with this responsibility of being in service in whatever way that you're being called to. Maybe you will have to develop some skills or some strengths or some emotional regulation to be able to handle the level of leadership that's being asked of you, because being a twin flame is a very big responsibility to the collective. It is not just about the romance. Actually, that's really nothing to do with it at all. It's not about the romance. It's about the spiritual unification of the opposites. It's about the embodiment of that in a physical form. And that is the biggest service you can do to humanity at this time. So it is being in a leadership position, and it's important that that role is taken seriously. Okay, let's find out some information from the Coffee Cup Oracle here. You have triangle with choices and indecision. So you may feel as though you have so many feelings and so many passions and so many things that you're interested in that you're being pulled in all directions. Now, how does this relate back to the twin flame connection? Well, it does and it doesn't. I think that it's important that you do this self-development and self-growth as part of that journey. But I also feel like it's part of it is part of your own spiritual service. I just keep getting that message of you being of service, making the choices that are going to serve you at soul level and the collective, because directly or indirectly it has an impact on this twin flame journey. You also have the anchor, stability and security. So finding an anchor point to kind of make this decision and stick with it, I think that's part of the development and growth here, and that's part of the service, because it does feel like things are a bit overwhelming. Feelings are a bit overwhelming. Ooh, look at this. You have obstacles and challenges, which is the 5 of Pentacles. Things to overcome, things that feel overwhelming, things that are hard, especially as it relates to your material world, your health, your finances, your work, right? We're talking about service here. So this could be literal work, physical work that you do, along with the spiritual aspect of that. And then you have spiritual strength. I love that. So Spirit is really calling you to have spiritual strength, to find this stability and to be able to commit to that, because underneath of that you have the Bride card, wife and engagement. So engaging with your passions and your service and being strong enough to be able to bear the weight of some of these spiritual lessons, and the responsibility and the leadership of being in this position where you are in service to the collective in this way. Having to be the big person, like adulting really hard here and having to make these tough decisions, I think is what is, first of all, leading to a little bit of overwhelm, but it is worth exploring because it's part of this journey. It is part of this journey. They keep saying that to me. Okay. Yeah, let's go in with the Rose Oracle. The Rose Oracle for group 2. Okay, we have a couple flipped out there. The Anointed, answer the call, leadership, empowerment, soul gifts. You see? Spirit speaking loud and clear here. This is about leadership. You literally have 2 cards of leadership. You have cards of service. Oh, underneath the leadership card, you have respect and admiration. That came out in group number 1. So I do feel like you're going to be put in a position of leadership or power here, or you already are, and it's a lot of responsibility, and that's why it can feel a little bit heavy on your shoulders, like heavy is the head that wears the crown. But you're an anointed one, group number 2, and it's really important that you go about this service in an empowered way, which means being very responsible with that power and expressing your soul gifts in an aligned way with discretion is what I just heard, with discretion. So you are being called, you're being called into the big leagues, group number 2, and this is to do with the twin flame journey, but right now what I'm seeing is that it's actually about your spiritual service. So what are you doing to help the collective? Do you have a skill in, I don't know, it could be anything. Do you have a skill in finances? Are you good at the housing markets? Are you a spiritual reader? Are you a healer? Are you an astrologer? Are you Are you interested in helping the less fortunate? Are you the type of person who goes to soup kitchens or who volunteers for things? If not, are you somebody who serves through the information you can provide, maybe coaching people or counseling people or teaching people, mentoring? Like, there's so many different ways that you can step into a leadership position in terms of your spiritual growth. Now, we also have the Bloom card. Creations realized, the right time, harvest and celebrate. That's so positive, group number 2. So the more spiritual strength you've been able to cultivate and hold on to, the more that you're going to see this harvest really, really come about, because you managed to overcome some of this overwhelm and inundation and indecision. And there's going to be a stability that really comes from that. It's part of your spiritual service. They keep saying that. It's part of the spiritual path here. And being in a twin flame union is like the highest form of spiritual service, like I said. So I think that you finding your purpose is going to be a big part of that. Like, you finding your spiritual purpose and what you're here to do, what you're here to give back, what you're here to share, what you're here to be. Like, it's not even about what you're doing for other people quite so much as the embodiment of you living that experience, and how that indirectly has a ripple effect onto the people around you, either physically in your life or at a distance. So you're very much tied to the collective ascension, group number 2. That's what Twin Flames do. It's assisting the collective ascension of humanity. And so feeling overwhelmed is natural. That's a part of it. I'm feeling drawn to the Final Rose Tarot. Let's get more information for you, group 2. It's okay to feel overwhelmed, but you do have to make some decisions here. We have the possessive card, which is the, what is this? 4 of Rings. Yeah. Stability, right? That's about stability. You really need to find internal stability and find your path. Now, I'm also getting a message here about unlocking the chains from your heart. Romantic feelings was your significator card, so this is really talking about letting yourself open up. And I think finding your spiritual path and walking it and living it and being in service in this way is going to help you to do that, because it's gonna lead you in the direction where your heart is calling you, whether it's art or music or healing work or something more practical, like businesses or money and finance, like something more grounded or practical, or something more esoteric, or something more creative. Doesn't matter. Whatever your soul is calling you to, that's the direction you need to go, because it's going to unlock your heart and it's going to open you up. The more you explore these feelings, the more you follow that path, the more decisive you're going to be, the less overwhelmed you'll feel, and the more growth and development you're going to experience. That's going to help a lot. It's going to bring in harvest. I do want to clarify the Bloom card where it says harvest and celebrate. Let's get some cards here. Actually, I feel these 3, so let's look at those. Keep it chill. Keep it chill, group number 2. It's important that you relax. Your creations are going to be realized. But this is a matter of timing is what I'm seeing here. The right time's really standing out to me, and keep it chill. So Spirit really wants you to relax about the timing. Don't try to force things. You have challenge winner. You are going to come out victorious. Like, it's guaranteed. It's written in the stars. It's written in your soul blueprint. It's part of who you are. You're not going to back down. You're an anointed one, and you are meant to be in this position of leadership and empowerment. And you've answered the call. I don't think you would be here on this reading on my channel, of all the readers on the internet, that you would find me and this channel, which is not about giving you spiritual fluff. It's about really stepping into spiritual empowerment and real grounded service to the collective. This is what Ascension's about here. So the fact that you're here is a testament to the fact that you're doing what you're needing to be doing. And you also have for the right reasons, and you're doing it for the right reasons. You're not doing it for the acclaim or for the fame or even for that eventual outcome of union with this other person. You're doing it because it feels right to you. You're doing it because it feels authentic, because it allows you to feel empowered and self-expressed, and because you're passionate and you love it. So if there's something that you've been feeling called toward, but you haven't kind of let your heart guide you in that direction, this is the reading that you needed to see today to help spur you along and make that choice. If there's been any overwhelm or indecision as a result of that, this is here to kind of light a fire under your butt a little bit, okay, group 2? Like, Spirit really wants you to get going, because you're going to be victorious. You're going to have lots more time to relax. You're going to connect with the right people. You're going to love what it is that you do. And you're going to get, I really feel like you're going to get the respect and admiration that you deserve, but not from an egocentric place. It's more like you're just receiving that because it's a direct reflection of what you're embodying. It's like you're proud of yourself. People are going to be proud of you. You love yourself. People are going to love you. Not 100% of the time, right? But more often than not. Okay, I'm actually being called to the Romance Oracles for you guys as well. That's the same deck that we used for the Significator. So let's get another 3 cards, apparently. Okay. You have forgiving and learning. Okay, it says, as you release and heal the past, you experience more love in your present moments. I think that may be where that emotional inundation is coming from, and that chain around the heart, it's like you're being very sort of guarded with your heart because maybe there has been painful things in the past. Things that have really rocked the system and created a lack of stability. They just took me back to the anchor again. So it's kind of like these hurts from the past, these disappointments, these failures perhaps have left you feeling as though you were not good enough. That's what I'm feeling anyway. It's like, I'm not good enough. I don't deserve success because no matter how hard I try, I keep coming up against these brick walls, or I keep coming up against these obstacles, right? That's the obstacles and challenges card. But you're being called to have spiritual faith here, spiritual strength that's going to get you through this because it's part of your development. And it has been a long, hard road is what I'm seeing, group number 2. It's been a long, hard road. But Spirit wants you to experience more love in your present moment, which means forgiving yourself for the things that you perceive as failures and understanding that it's not a testament to the level of success that you have or the positive effect that you can have on this world, that you have experienced pain or failures or hardships and obstacles, challenges. It's not a testament to you as a person being not good enough. It's really not. And I think that overcoupling or that over-association is what kind of resulted in this guardedness, maybe jadedness in the other extreme sort of aspect of that, but I'm feeling it more like guarded, being very guarded, protective of your heart, and rightfully so. But the more that you're stepping into your spiritual service and following your heart, the easier that it's going to get to know what is for you and what's not. And that indecision will go away. You'll be able to trust yourself again, but you have to forgive yourself first, because to trust yourself, you have to have a healthy relationship with you. And to be in a relationship that is of the twin flame type, it literally is being able to trust yourself. Because if you can't trust that other person, it's mirroring that back to you, that you need to trust yourself. So yeah, learning from experience. You also have attraction. You attract romantic love by enjoying this moment fully. They're really talking about the present moment in both of these cards. Present moment is important, experiencing joy, doing some emotional healing, relieving some of the pressure. I just heard as well, relieving the pressure. Yeah, that's what you're being inundated with. It's like pressure. Pressure to perform, pressure to create, pressure to overcome these challenges, or pressure to feel, compelled down this path of twin flame union or connection. But they also say express your love. Go ahead and make the romantic gesture. Your feelings are real and worth exploring was your significator card. And now they're talking about expressing your love. So first you have to feel it, then you have to heal it, then you need to embody it, express it. And I think that is a big part of your spiritual service here, group number 2, because like I was saying before, you've had to go through these challenges, these obstacles, these failures, these lack of connections, to be able to really appreciate where it is that you're going and all of the experiences that have helped you to grow as a person. But you don't want to grow in the opposite direction where you're allowing that jadedness to turn into bitterness and closing your heart for good. That doesn't do anybody any good, least of all yourself, but especially not the world and the rest of us here, working towards this collective ascension. We really do need every member on the team embodying this energy of love. And if you're being harsh with yourself, that's not the path of service. The path of service is love for self, forgiveness for self, and then that radiates and is embodied through your relationships to the world around you, and especially directly mirrored through that twin flame union. Okay, yeah, I do feel called to the Psychic Tarot. Let's get one of those cards for you, Group 2. What else does Group 2 need to know here? Movement, choices, and decisions. You cannot make this stuff up, you guys. Look, you have the Triangle card, which is choices and decisions, and then you have the Two of Wands, choices, decisions. You have some choices to make here, Group number 2. Which direction are you going to go? And I really don't think that there's a wrong path necessarily, because it's not like you can't double back. It's not like you can't change your mind. It's not like you can't learn a lesson and then apply that into your new actions. You always have free will here, okay? And that's what I think leadership is all about. It's being self-led and knowing that no matter what happens, you can always choose something else because you're the leader. You get to lead your own life. You get to choose the direction that it goes. You're the author and the reader of this choose your own story adventure. You know, you get to choose which page you flip to, and you can go back and do it again. So don't worry. That's what I'm seeing about forgiving, is like you really need to let go of the things that didn't work in the past and beating yourself up about that, because it's not helping you and it's not part of this service. So I do feel like you guys have some decisions to make. Let's get some clarity on that. I feel, which deck are they calling me to? Yeah, we haven't got any from the archetypes deck yet, so let's do that. I do feel this one that was kind of like sticking out. God. Wow. Oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah, God, literally. This came up sort of reversed, but I'm going to do a Jalissa and throw it in the air and see which way it lands to get an indication of whether it's supposed to be upright or reversed, but it just fell off the table, so I have to go get it. Okay, so you have God. Benevolence and compassion, recognizing the eternal force within yourself and others. And the shadow side is despotism and cruelty, using power to control people. So this is in the upright for you guys. This is using your God-given strength and power to be of service and to make the choices that you feel called to make. Being compassionate, being benevolent with yourself and others. That's literally what it says here. Recognizing the eternal force within you. This is part of your service. So unlocking your spiritual gifts, tuning into your capacity to overcome these obstacles and challenges, because I think it's part of the way that you're meant to be of service, Group number 2. I feel like this path of challenge is what is developing you into this very strong and stable individual. Even though it probably doesn't feel stable right now, especially with those 2 choice cards and indecision, I feel like you may feel confused right now and overwhelmed, and that's okay. Because this is like a point in time that you're going to look back at. This is like a chapter in the book that was really pivotal in your transformation and becoming the version of you that is in a position of leadership, that is in this God-like sovereignty where you're able to choose for yourself and dictate and create your reality, especially doing that through this empowered service to others, using your skills, expressing yourself authentically, feeling able to really create and realize those creations and then harvest those, because you have that bloom card, you have victory, you have for the right reasons. It's like your intentions are good. That's why Spirit just wants you to relax. The keep it chill card just like didn't chill, no chill. It's the second card that's fallen on the floor. So everything that happens in a reading is significant, and when cards fall on the floor, it means this energy needs to be anchored. It needs to be stabilized. It needs to be grounded, because when they're falling on the floor is literally like the stability that's underneath our feet. And since you have literally the stability card in the anchor, this is about grounding, Group number 2. You guys need to ground, because that is going to help you to tune into your strength. It's going to give you that force of resistance in a good way to be able to build and to kind of express yourself in a functional way. It's kind of like you need that physical resistance to propel off of. And so that's where you're going to be able to expand and connect to yourself. And I think that especially when we're talking about emotional overwhelm and mental confusion or indecision, grounding is so fundamental. Like, if you can't feel your feelings and think your thoughts in a clear way because you're ungrounded and you're disconnected from yourself, it's going to be super hard to make progress. It's going to be super hard to feel and trust yourself in being decisive and taking actions. So it will lead to that feeling of, okay, I can't do it. I'm not going to be able to succeed at this, but you will, because what you really just need to do is anchor and ground. So go outside, get out in nature, go for walks, breathe fresh air, get yourself in the sun, be with the trees, or just focus on your root chakra in general too, like grounding stones, root chakra stones, red jasper, black tourmaline, onyx. Just heard smoky quartz as well. That's actually not, well, yeah, you could use it for that too. But yeah, like darker stones are usually the ones that are connected to the root chakra. Hematite even, so it's like you need that sense of stability so that you have something to build off of. And that's going to give you a greater sense of openness to explore these feelings, to feel them, and then to pursue that in the direction that's really calling you here, because it's part of your spiritual service and it's part of your path to personal soul development. Okay, so I hope that this reading helped you, group number 2. My intention for doing this reading and why Spirit called me here today was to basically provide a little bit of feedback on this journey to help support you along this path, because I know that it can be challenging. It does require a lot of you. That's the spiritual strength they're talking about here. But you're headed in the right direction. You're doing it for the right reasons. Spirit wants you to just relax and allow yourself to kind of open up to this process, feel your feelings, get grounded, and then you're going to see the harvest of that. You're going to see your dreams being realized, and you're going to be celebrating this victory because you are the challenge winner. You overcome the obstacles and challenges, and you do it through your ability to make decisions, okay, and take action. So that is what I see for you. Sending you guys so much love. I hope this reading helped. And if you guys are needing any spiritual support, mentorship, healing, guidance through readings or anything like that, I do have services available right now that you can book through my website, which is linked in the description box below. It's tarotandbeyond.com. Thanks so much, guys. I love you, and we'll see you in the next reading. Bye. All right. Hi, group 3. Welcome to your reading. You guys chose the retreat card, and your card says it's time to disconnect from the world. And before I even hit record, I was feeling like this retreat is something that's needed for you to kind of pull back from a situation. It feels like you need some time. I am hearing the word isolate. Now, there's nuance to that, and it's really important that you guys use your discretion. You don't want to isolate too much or for the wrong reasons, but I'm feeling like that particularly at this time, it is going to be helpful for you to just kind of pull back, reserve your energy, introspect a little bit. Feels kind of like hermit vibes, like the hermit card in the tarot. So this may be something that is calling you right now, and that's going to be helpful to just retreat and pull back a little bit. Let's get some information on why this is necessary, especially in regard to this twin flame union. You have the 9 of Rings with influencer. Interesting. Are you someone who's very visible, group number 3? This doesn't mean that you're an actual influencer. It can, if that applies, right? But I'm seeing it more as like you're somebody who's probably very visible. And that's kind of, I'm seeing like a lot of eyes on you, whether it's in your work environment or your friend group or your family. There's like a lot of people that are observing you and this relationship. I feel like you're the group that's kind of already either met your twin flame or you're in connection with them, not necessarily union, but you're like in connection with them somehow. And if you aren't, just disregard that. But I'm feeling that energy, so I have to mention it. So what I'm seeing is that there's a lot of eyes on you and there's a lot of influence from the outside that is coming in and sort of interfering energetically. And the way that I'm seeing this going down is that it's kind of like skewing the direction. Yeah, blindsided, the 9 of mirrors. So it's skewing the direction. It's impacting your mind, your mentality, and how you're seeing things because this energy is being directed toward you. When we have thoughts, it's like a frequency that we've just sent out, right? It's like a text message. And even though it's not a direct text message that we receive and are able to interpret that information literally in that way, it still gets received. And subconsciously, we're always interpreting that and integrating that into our consciousness. So when you're very visible, and when a lot of people have a lot of different opinions about you, especially in regard to this relationship, they can unconsciously, or maybe even intentionally, who knows what they're doing, but they're projecting that at you, and you're feeling it. And you're like, it's heavy on your shoulders. It's kind of what they're showing me. It's heavy on your shoulders. And that is really causing some difficulties here. It is interfering with what is happening. And these people are not seeing you or this other person or the situation clearly. They're not seeing it clearly. What they just showed me in my mind was the mirror here being like the mirror from Beauty and the Beast, how the Beast and Beauty can connect with each other and the innocence between them and how clearly they see one another. But when Belle takes the mirror into the village and she tries to prove that the Beast is good, the other villagers, they see the Beast in the mirror and they go, oh my God, he's a monster. He's going to eat our children, and they start projecting all of this fear and they start attacking. They try to lock Belle up and they try to invade the Beast's castle. It's like, this is kind of what I'm seeing at an energetic level for you. This is what's happening. And that's why they want you to retreat. They want you to pull your energy back. They want you to not hide away necessarily, but just be a little bit more reserved in what you're sharing or how public you're making your relationship or yourself in general. It's really important that you not necessarily hermit, but that you are careful who you give access to your energy. That's what I'm seeing. Be very careful and very, very intentional about how you are giving people access to your energy. So if you are, let's say, for example, you're an actual influencer and you create videos or content online and that's part of your business or that's part of what you just like to do, that doesn't mean you have to stop doing that. But I would recommend setting some energetic boundaries through your intention around what it is that you're putting out there into the world, especially if it's related or indirectly related to your twin flame relationship and connection. Okay, so basically, before you put out some content or before you talk about something or before you go out into public, whatever the situation is, set the intention. I have a bubble of protective energy around me, and anyone's thoughts, feelings, or projections cannot enter into this bubble. I'm not responsible for how other people think and feel. I know my truth, and I'm going to double down on that. That is really what you need. Even like they just drew, right after I said that, they said, look at the card, and she's in the mirror, but the mirror is like a bubble around her, a bubble of protection. Okay, so this is confirmation that what you're needing right now, group number 3, is to create and set that intention of energetic protection. It's like a filter that is going to prevent these people from coming in. And now they're showing me in my mind the Protego Totalum charm in Harry Potter. They're showing me the scene in the Horcruxes where they're in the forest and Hermione's casting the protective charms around their camp, and then those evil people walk by and they can't see them or get to them. So you're protected, okay? So they want you to protect your energy. Now I'm feeling called to the Egyptian Star Oracle for group number 3. Wow. Fertility and sex. Okay. People could have opinions about you and this other person. They could have opinions about, I'm seeing racial, or it's like there's some differences between you and this person. Maybe you are from different cultures, or you have different age group. You're from different age groups or different generations, or maybe you have some like alternate ideas about sex, or maybe this is that you are planning to have a child soon, or maybe you already have, and people have opinions about that. It's like nosy people. They just have nothing better to do. And it's not, it's not their fault. I mean, it is their responsibility to be accountable to that. But, when they're unconscious in that way, it's really easy to project. It's really easy to kind of like feed the negativity, and that can act as almost like a form of entertainment for these people. But don't let that into your life. Like I said, your truth, stick with that, set those boundaries. The number 8 is really standing out to me in this card, actually. And 8 is to do with karma. I don't know why I always see the number 8 as karma. It's also about power and balance and infinity. I'm seeing it here as karma. So it's telling me that there's something karmic about this, and it's teaching you to protect yourself. It's teaching you to trust yourself, to trust your partner too. Like if this is somebody that you're already in union with, it's kind of like people coming in and gossiping and spreading rumors and saying, I heard from so-and-so that they were fooling around on you behind your back, or I heard that you guys were on the rocks or something like that. It's just people kind of poking the bear to try and get a rise out of you. And I'm seeing energetically, this is part of one of your lessons, and it is important that you don't allow that to perturb you, is what they just said. Don't allow that to perturb you. Yeah, just protect yourself. And especially if this has to do with publicly sharing your physical state. I don't really know. Okay, well, I mean, pregnancy, like they said in this card, fertility, sex and fertility, or publicly sharing that you're in a relationship. I just heard open relationship. But I think that just means being open with your relationship. Take it as it resonates. You guys know your situation better than I do. But you have security on the bottom as well. So this is a lesson about creating security for yourself, protecting. They're showing me security. There's just this message of protection so loud for you, group 3, because they're showing me laser beams in an art gallery at night. It's like a security system. You need a security system that's going to let you know when somebody's negative vibes have kind of entered in and they're not meant to be there. So boundaries are going to be important, setting those energetic bubbles of protection through intention, and also pulling back and not sharing certain things with certain people. It's about knowing who you can open up to and who you really can't. And unfortunately, I think you've been opening up to people that really can't be trusted, or at least they're not responsible with their thoughts and emotions. And so it's really not doing you any good, or them really, Okay, I feel the coffee cup oracle calling us next. Gate, opportunities and home. Protect your home as well. The gate, it's like the gate is open. You need to close it. You need to lock it. You need to get some guard dogs and put like a warning sign. Guard dogs, don't come in here. Boundaries. You really need some boundaries here, group number 3. And that's actually going to create opportunities for you. So the more that you can protect your energy and this relationship through those intentions and boundaries and bubbles of protection, the less influence there's going to be and the less instability is going to result from that. And then you're going to have opportunities that are going to result from the security that you're creating, literally security. And you have choices and indecision with the triangle. Group 2 had this one as well. And I think this is a choice you have to make for yourself. You might be feeling indecisive, who are the people I can trust, who aren't? What kind of boundaries do I need to set? How am I going to go about this? Maybe it feels uncomfortable for you. Maybe it feels like look at this. Maybe it feels like you're bending over backwards for people, but then you're getting hurt in the process of that. So yes, I keep seeing boundaries being important here. Boundaries are really important for you, group number 3. Very, very. You have strength and success with the lion. And I also felt this. Actually, there's 2 more. Okay. Look at those. And then we'll get more cards. You've got the anchor, stability, and security. Yeah, security. That's the second security card you guys have had here. Okay, so they're very, very clear. Spirit wants you to focus on your security. What's underneath that? Writing or a person's legacy. Interesting. I just noticed that kind of peeking out. So this could be about something that you're writing or sharing, or the legacy that you leave behind. They were talking about fertility and sex. So again, this could have to do with children and people's opinions about your children, or the way you're raising your children, or the relationship that you're looking to build, or the family you want to create with this person. It's like everybody's got their opinions, and you just need to create some stability in your own life. Set those boundaries in place, because that's what's going to lead to success, these opportunities, and the strength to be able to say no. They just told me something about pride. Like the lion here, lions are about, like, they rove. They have these families, right? These big prides of lions. So this could be in your family. There could be a lot of pride in your family around your heritage, or the traditional way of going about relationships. Perhaps, oh, I did just get a message because we had that open relationship message come through. Again, this isn't necessarily for everyone. Just take it if it's for you, and you'll know because that's your situation. But I'm getting a message about being in an open relationship and coming from a very traditional family, and them not understanding or supporting that. And again, projecting all of these negative sort of ideas towards you, or these judgments or these criticisms. And that's preventing you from really honoring what it is that you feel is right for you. And everyone's different. Some people really do well in polyamorous situations, and some people do not, and they have to have monogamy. It varies from person to person. And so it's really important that you honor what's right for you, and not necessarily the projections of other people and the cultural or traditional roots that you came from. And then we have endings and beginnings with the wheel. Okay, so it's time for an ending here. This is, they just took me back to the nines. Oh, both of these are nines. 9 of Rings and 9 of Swords. I didn't even notice that until right now. I don't know if you guys can even see that because the cards are kind of glossy, but 2 nines. It's about endings. And I was getting the Hermit card energy from the retreat, and the Hermit is also the number 9. 999. That's a big ending for you guys, and it's a karmic ending. It's coming after this karmic cycle that has been teaching you this lesson. And it's time for you to disconnect. It's time for you to remove yourself from those people, their opinions. I just keep getting this message about really being scrutinizing about who you let into your space, who you let into your physical home as well, because your home is your sacred space. Don't just be letting anybody in, especially if they're coming in with their judgment, their criticism, and their bad vibes. Don't let them in your home, even if that ruffles some feathers. Group number 3. This is quite an intense message. I'm going to get more information for you guys. Oh, that fell on the floor. One sec. Okay, so when cards fall on the floor, and I mentioned this in group 2 because a couple of their cards fell on the floor, it's really a message that something needs to be anchored. It needs to be stabilized. I think they actually got the anchor card too. Yeah, there's some similarities there. But you guys have the throat chakra. That's the card that fell on the floor. So this is really about you, first of all, honoring your authentic truth. And second of all, communicating and setting boundaries. So I think there's some things that you need to say. There's some sort of choices you need to make. There's some decisions that need to be put in place around who or what you are communicating to whom. So this could be verbally setting some boundaries with some family members or some people in your community that have been judging you, either openly or behind your back. Trust your intuition to feel into who those people are. And also, this is about reserving what it is that you're saying. You know, there's a time and place for everything, and sometimes the most supportive thing we can do is not to try and convince people, or not to try and share something with people who are committed to misunderstanding us. So really, the authentic expression doesn't have to always be, I need to speak my truth to every single person. It's about speaking your truth to the right people, so that you're not ending up getting hurt because you're being misunderstood chronically here. That's what I'm seeing. It's like you're chronically misunderstood, group number 3, and that's not fair. And it's disturbing the relationship. You have strength. And you had you had security twice, and you have strength twice. Strength and strength, okay? So you guys really need to be strong here and say no to other people's webs and lies and distortions and gossip and projections and negative thought forms that they're directing to you consciously or unconsciously. Like, you really need to stand up and say no. And like I said, I think that's going to be both verbal, I think it's also going to be physical, and it's going to be energetic. It's really kind of on all of these levels. So doing it spiritually, like I said, is the bubble of protection and intention. Doing it verbally is communicating or not communicating to people in certain ways so that you're protecting yourself. And then the physical way is literally maybe saging, cleansing, setting up crystal grids in your home, not allowing certain people in and out of your home, these kinds of things. I'm feeling drawn to the final Rose Tarot. What is going on with this, and why is it related to the Twin Flame Journey? You have the single mom card. which is the Queen of Rings. So this could be a mother that is projecting this, or you could be a single mom and you're getting judged for that. Maybe you're a single mom and you're dating or connecting with this twin flame, and his family or your family or her family and your family are projecting onto you. Yeah, I just keep getting that they're projecting. This is part of your destiny, which is interesting though. So I'm going to get a clarifier on the destiny card. It feels like chance is at work in your life here, but in a good way. Can I get clarifier on the destiny card, please? Ooh, you have the Sun. Joy, enjoyment, life force, success, vitality, and play. Okay, so it's actually destined for you to overcome this situation, bring light to the situation. The sun illuminates things. It also heats things up, but it promotes growth in the long run. So I feel like it's very destined for you to put a stop to this, to put an end to it, to set those boundaries, to make those decisions. Yeah, you need to do something about this to create more success for yourself and vitality, to allow yourself to not constantly feel like you're under the gun from somebody else's projections and judgments, because I'm seeing that this is affecting your life force energy. They drew my attention to that life force energy and the strength cards and the security. Yeah, it's like you need to zip up your energetic field, group number 3, and make sure that you're not leaking energy, because other people's thoughts and projections are like poking holes in your auric field. Okay, and then you have the fertile void, inner winter, rest, patience, potency, and secret beginnings. Secret beginnings. Like this is the 12th house that we're talking about here. It's like hidden things, secret things that happen behind the scenes, retreating, not making things super public. Don't talk about this with the wrong people. And you'll know they're the wrong people because you'll feel unsafe in sharing it. Your body's going to tell you, your nervous system's going to tell you, like, this doesn't feel safe. This person doesn't really fully understand or accept me or my choices. Yeah. Now, the other thing that's standing out to me about this is the inner winter. And it's interesting that we have this dark card of the inner void, and then we have the light card of the sun. So it's like this balancing of the shadow and the light. Speaking of, let's get a card from the archetypes deck, because it talks about shadows and light. Okay, that was so freaking fast. And it's the Queen. It's the Queen, and she came out reversed, so that's the shadow side. And I'm just remembering that you had the Queen of Rings. So this is Queen, this is divine feminine energy, but it's distorted in some way. So the shadow side of this becomes arrogant when authority is challenged, controlling and demanding. It feels like a very controlling mother. Honestly, I have to say what I feel and what I'm seeing here, and it feels like either your mother or a mother is influencing this situation from the outside in, or even very directly. You know, they could be quite literally openly judging you, verbalizing that to you, and that could be influencing how you feel about yourself and about this other person. And that's why they're saying you kind of got to pull back from that. It's very hard when it's family, right? Especially like a mother, it's very hard to do that. But I'm feeling like that's what's going to help you the most here, group number 3. And it's going to set you up for success. You're going to be able to do some healing because of that. And you're going to step into your own inner queen or king, depending on which you identify as. But I feel like, yeah, it's going to help you to free yourself from this trap, because it does. It feels like a little bit of a trap. Literally, as I said, it feels like a trap. We have free yourself. Thank you, Spirit. Just confirming exactly what I'm saying. Free yourself. It's time to take back control of your life. This feels like a very controlling person who has projected onto you and is trying to control every facet and minutia of your relationship and your life and yourself. And Spirit is saying, no, you need to take back your power. You need to do what's right for you, and you need to trust your gut on what that is, and then make the decisions that reflect that. Create those boundaries, communicate that, pull back, not just set the boundaries, but also enforce them. I just can't believe that they were literally showing me, like, right 2 seconds before I pulled this card, they were showing me somebody like fenced in, and then I said free yourself, and I was like, it feels like a trap, and then that's exactly. But look at this unicorn. That's a big, magical, amazing unicorn who can just step right over that little puny gate, over that little puny fence. So it's like this person has created some kind of a mental trap for you. And even though you're powerful and you can immediately get out of that, it's not a real trap. It's like it's put you into the illusion or the conditioning that it is inescapable. But it's kind of like learned helplessness is what I'm getting. You know, it's like when if you chain up an animal and they try to escape so many times, eventually they learn that it's not going to work and they give up hope. And then even if you take them, if you take that leash or that thing off of them, they still won't try to escape because they've learned, they've been conditioned that each time I try, I fail. And I think that this is where you're needing to free yourself, because it is in your mind, group number 3. And you need to get out from underneath of the thumb of this person or people who are projecting this energy your way so that you can become fertile. Look at that. I didn't even realize the fertile void, and you have the fertility and sex. Yeah, it's like you are meant to be very fertile, either literally, physically, or through what it is that you're creating in your life, what it is that you're wanting to create. I keep looking at the word success. So you have the fertility within you to create success in your life, but you need to kind of get out of this mindset of I can't do it, or these other people are creating these sort of mental conditions for you that are making you believe that you can't. But it's your destiny to break free from this. It's your destiny to be successful. Okay, group 3. So you will find a way. Where there's a will, there's a way, I just heard. And you just have to be willing to do the uncomfortable things here, which is probably to pull away, to retreat, to make some changes, set some boundaries, communicate things, which may be difficult, but it's part of your strength and development, okay? So that's really what I see for you, group 3. I hope that this reading helped. I know that this might feel like a complicated situation, especially if this really resonates for you and it's hitting home. That probably feels really hard, but you are in control of your life. You are the divine power within, and you can change this situation. So it's time for an ending and a beginning, and you're going to see the fertility that comes from this new beginning as you set those limits, those boundaries, and walk away from what doesn't serve you. All right, guys, so that is what I have for you. I hope you enjoyed the reading. Thank you so much for being here. If you guys need any spiritual support, healing, or guidance, I have services available that you can book through my website, which is linked in the description box below. All pricing is in Canadian dollars, and if you guys have any questions, you can leave them in the comments below or send me an email through my contact page. Love you guys, and we'll see you in the next reading. Bye.